passing yards and also led them on a 65-yard touchdown drive. Against Atlanta on Friday, 3 drives, just 2 for 7, although a couple of those passes were not on him. 42 passing yards and no TDs or no picks for the #1 overall pick. We now welcome in former Louisiana running back Emory Hunt. Last week, Emory, Cam Ward led the Titans on a touchdown drive in his final series. You said you wanted to see Ward start his second preseason game the way he finished his first preseason game. He did not. He played 3 series, finished 2 of 7, 42 yards. Are they doing it right with Ward through 2 preseason games?
I believe so, Chris, and the reason why I like their approach with Cam Ward is because you're expecting him to be the starter. He's unquestioned the #1 guy, so you don't want to have him play a lot in the preseason because that's just adding more games to a full 17-game regular season. So we're talking about the equivalent of playing 19 games if you played him a lot in the preseason. So I like the approach, and these numbers have a little bit of context, man, because he threw 2 dots down the field, deep down the field. Van Jefferson dropped one of them. That would have been a huge play to help extend the drive and keep them on the field. And one he threw out of bounds, but it was right in the bucket in the corner by the pylon. So I think he's doing a really good job. What I love about what I saw tonight was how assertive he was in his decision-making and how he was just trying to find little spots, little corners to fit the football in. And the receivers weren't ready for that type of play. So that's more of the receiver side of things instead of Cam Ward's side. But I like the fact that he was being assertive, he was being aggressive, he was making some tight window throws, and we saw the arm, we saw the accuracy, and we saw the toughness of Cam Ward tonight.
Yeah, it was everything that we saw at Miami, right? Washington State, all the way going back to where you watched him. So Cam Ward, yeah, he's going to be just fine in my opinion. Now, let's put a bow on this game, Emory. It is the preseason, so there are a lot of guys getting an opportunity on both sides of the ball. Who stood out to you on Friday in Atlanta?
Well, starting with the Titans, you look at Gunnar Helm, where his friends was at the combine, right? Because he had a bum ankle, then went out there and ran a 40, tried to show toughness, and ran some god-awful number, and that dropped his stock to where he got drafted later in the draft. He was my #2 inline tight end right behind Colston Loveland. The tape showed that this guy was doing exactly what he did out here tonight for Tennessee. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 48 yards, and a touchdown. So they got themselves a steal late in the draft. He had a fantastic night, just another weapon for a young quarterback in Cam Ward. And on the Falcons side of things, it's always tough for a running back in the preseason or in practice because you're just butting up against defenders. You're not really running through tackles, so you're not really getting a good gauge of what you're doing out there on the field. But in the preseason game, all bets are off. And that's why I love what I saw from Nate Carter, the undrafted rookie free agent out of Michigan State. Had, 9 carries, 63 yards, a touchdown, had a nice 38-yard run, a 48-yard run, and also had 2 catches on the night as well for 9 yards. So I thought he did a lot to try to battle with Jashawn Corbin, who led the UFL in rushing this spring. You talk about adding games on the body. He just played 10 games. So Nate Carter's coming in fresh and has had a really good night. You see that big run right there, showed the vision, showed the burst. All of that was in my scouting report. So excited to see him check those boxes tonight and really impressed a lot. Even Arthur Blank was surprised and impressed with how well he ran this evening.
Yeah, he was looking like he could be a definite productive member of that team. Now, Cam Ward has the second best odds to win, excuse me, Rookie of the Year behind only Raiders running back Ashton Jeanty. The reason the Titans got to draft Ward was a 3-14 season last year. So when you think about how this Titans team is set up, Emory, what would define a successful rookie campaign for Mr. Ward?
More touchdowns and picks. That's easy, right? But definitely having this team going in the right direction, having some wild plays, showing that, hey, he is a quarterback of the future, which I believe he is. And I do like the fact that he's second on this list. He's still being underrated despite being the #1 overall pick. That's why we're here to talk about it. I feel like he is going to be the offensive rookie of the year because he is the starting quarterback, and he will have those wild plays, those moments that we saw from him at Incarnate Word, Washington State, Miami. And I do like the fact that the receivers that he has in tow, the Calvin Ridleys, Gunnar Helm tonight is going to be a guy. I believe that they're going to be able to run the football a little bit more. So we'll see if Xavier Restrepo makes the team and get involved within his offense. So Cam Ward will have his success, and success to me looks like him getting the Titans to maybe 5-6 wins, flirting with that 7th win, but getting better as the season goes on, and statistics will prove that.
Cameron Ward and the Titans open the regular season on the road at Denver in Week 1. Emory Hunt, always a pleasure talking football with you, man.
Monique, what's this do for his chances of eventually being their starter?
Yeah, I mean, I think it doesn't help it, obviously, because injuries are keeping him from getting better and keeping him from playing. And, of course, he can be in the film room and learning in that way and trying to get better, but demonstrating that you have the ability. He has a lot of ground to cover. So I think he got off to an incredible start. He was fortunate enough to get a start at preseason game. That was a big step. I know we don't want to make too much of it because of the preseason game, but that was a big step. And then he has to make another step. You can't make any steps when you're on the sideline. So I think it does not help him in any way.
No doubt about it. Look, he had momentum, right, D. Wood, coming off of that preseason game last week, and now it's got to wait a little while.
Yeah, anyone who says that it's not a setback is absolutely wrong. It's definitely a setback. You have that momentum. You go out there. Because how many fifth-round quarterbacks get an opportunity to not only start but play majority of the first preseason game, and he absolutely capitalized on it, and then, the unfortunate situation, sustaining that oblique injury, is a setback. It's a setback. I don't think anyone at the table believed that he would start the first game, but obviously if you can continue to, put bricks on top of the pile, per se, it gives you a much better opportunity to be that much closer to the starting job.
Really starts to feel like the veteran Joe Flacco ends up the Week 1 starter. But Shedeur, not the only rookie on this roster. Dylan Gabriel was the 3rd-round pick. He has a chance to show something now this weekend, right?
Absolutely. Gross, he was really productive in college, 4 different spots. But I'll tell you this, he has to show that he can stay in the pocket and make throws. He is height efficient, not a great athlete. He has a good arm, but he has to show that can actually translate to the next level. So he does have an opportunity, but odds are against, in my opinion, just given the lack of skills he has.
Number of twists and turns likely left in the quarterback story for the Cleveland Browns in 2025. I think that is safe to say. We got a lot more football to talk about. That Bijan Robinson leads the NFL in rushing.
I would believe that. I mean, listen, he had over 1,400 yards last year in the first year of Zach Robinson's offense. Like, you're talking about one of the best backs in the National Football League. I think year 2 behind a very good offensive line. They have a lot of really good personnel on the offensive side. I could absolutely see Bijan, leading the league in rushing this year.
Hopes were high in Atlanta last year, but they beat Tampa Bay twice and still couldn't catch them to win the division. Are they a playoff contender?
Yeah, absolutely think so. I think because Robinson is that type of difference maker, and we see a second year of Michael Penix. He showed some things last year. I think the hopes were high because they anticipated getting high-level quarterback play from Kirk Cousins. And coming off that Achilles, it took him longer than I think anyone expected to get back to a high level, and he never quite got there. They put Michael Penix in. He showed some promise. I think this team is set to be competitive in that division.
First season as the starter for Michael Penix. What do you expect him to look like?
I think he's